Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Swan TV. I hope everybody's good today. Today I am delighted I'm joined by Catrin Lewis, author of this wonderful little beaut, which we'll talk about in a little bit. She refers to herself, or people refer to her, she says in her book, as a communication unicorn, which is amazing and outstanding. So Catrin, do you want to introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit about you and what you do, who you work for, etc.?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Catrin, or Cat, as lots of my friends call me. I'm head of global engagement at Reward Gateway, which is a company on a mission to make the world a better place to work. And outside of that, I'm a Londoner. I live in East London. I like running, eating, restaurants, so music, gigs, all those sorts of things too. So, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm aware of Reward Gateway and all the great stuff you guys do there. Did you want to give a little bit of an overview about Reward Gateway and what that does and how you help businesses?
Yeah, so Reward Gateway is a tech company. We make HR technology which supports people in making companies where employees can thrive. So it helps to retain, engage, and just make companies really great places to work. So putting everything that an employee could need, the whole employee experience really at their fingertips. Last year, obviously, a lot of people are working from home, able to take the culture and put it right in the home office for people. And I've been with the company for nearly 10 years now, which is pretty exciting. So I've really seen it grow from where our focus before was a lot on discounts and things like that. It's been a real evolution, and now I'm excited because a lot of it focuses around communication, recognition, and well-being as well.
Amazing.
So, oh yeah, I love that part.
Love that. So as a lifer at Reward Gateway, I think that's what we refer to you as. Cat the lifer at Reward Gateway. What drives your passion behind helping businesses sort of with their company engagement, communication, I suppose, in turn their culture?
Sure. I think what I find really wonderful is supporting people through communications to understand how much they can contribute to, I think of like businesses as communities really, so helping to empower them and have everybody play their part in it and just build a really effective, really successful community. With a lot of it is based around confidence building as well. So getting people to find their voice, getting them to understand their value, and just elevating them to be really successful in their roles. I just really like to see that happen.
Why do you think so many businesses need the help of companies like Reward Gateway? Why do you think there is that need still? Why do you think companies maybe struggle a little bit internally still to get that message across?
Sure, I think I've seen it myself how technology has really changed things over the last decade. A lot before would be so much leadership led. A lot of startup companies would have CEOs and founders being so involved in everything and not being able to let go and be able to understand you've got the team there to be able to drive it. They would still be going through with everything, and just so much kind of hierarchical. It's changed now because people can access everything. You've got Glassdoor, customer reviews, all of these things online which are accessible. And even the way, especially for communication, so much before was, as I say, just coming when there was an event happening or just coming when there was a significant change project that needed to be done. But social media has just changed how we communicate even. So there's that constant thread of information and making everyone part of the narrative that's shared within the company, rather than just here's the annual CEO or quarterly CEO letter and that's it. And everything else is squirreled away in inboxes. There's no conversation there. Whereas communication really thrives when it's two-way. It shouldn't be a one-way thing. So absolutely. I like opening up all the channels possible for that, to enable that.
I agree completely. And, I like to think we do a good job. I appreciate I'm interviewing you today, but I do try and spread the love. So my colleague Amy, who does some of these Swan TVs as well and stuff like that. And it's about, I think for me, isn't it? It's about getting the personalities and profiles of your whole team out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Really encouraging everybody to have a voice and everybody to have a face. And rather than just me, always being the person standing there saying this and saying that.
Being told what to do and actually just being your own self-driver is a lot more motivating and enjoyable, especially seeing as how much time we spend at work.
Exactly. A large proportion of our time.
Yes, indeed.
It needs to be a good place. It's a nice place to be, doesn't it?
Indeed.
So what does your role, what do you do in your role at Reward Gateway?
So engagement, internal communications, the two go hand in hand with one another.
Yeah.
Reward Gateway has got a model called the engagement bridge, and read about that in Build It, the Rebel playbook for employee engagement. Essentially, if you think of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but one that's based on employees. So there's 10 different building blocks there, which bridge the employee engagement gap. Well-being, pay and benefits, and workspace at the bottom. But if you only have those three things, it's gonna leave a kind of like yearning for employees wanting more. And then the main pillar that bridges that gap is open and honest communications. And on top of that, we've got other things like job design, learning and development, management, leadership, recognition right on the top there. So every element of that bridge is something that I focus on in my role to make sure that we're excelling in those areas and making sure that they all touch part of the employee experience. Yep. It's my role really to retain the employees and make sure that they're happy and enabled at work. And so engagement is kind of like the measurement and then the design of it, and then internal communications is the activity that supports and runs all of those things and keeps it driving forward.
What's the biggest challenges you've had in your role then over the last 18 months?
Uncertainty has been the hardest thing. Yeah. Trying to communicate, and then things, we're in 4 different locations. Australia now are in a state of, well, they're hopefully coming out of lockdown, touch wood, very soon.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, it's been uncertainty everywhere. You don't know what's going to happen next. People going into state of emergencies. One thing you think is, oh, we're getting there now, and then health and safety is just changing everything that we do all the time. And uncertainty is exhausting for people, because if you're leading with, say, open and honest, you want to tell your employees at the earliest opportunity, but then the external communications that are happening in the world are so changeable. It leaves yours just not as healthy as they could be. So that's been the main challenge. It's exhausting for people.
Absolutely. So what countries are you based in?
USA, we're in Boston and Rochester, and then UK in London, and we have people spread throughout the UK as well. We're in Bulgaria. That's one of our biggest offices, with about 300 people in Plovdiv.
Oh, wow.
If you've heard of Plovdiv, but it's beautiful there. And then we're in Melbourne and Sydney in Australia as well.
That's interesting, because I find it interesting. So you go England, yeah, get it. USA, get it.
Yeah.
Australia, England, etc. Yeah. America. Why Bulgaria? Is there a story behind that?
Yeah, we went to Bulgaria about 5 years ago to help with the scale up of our company, really. So our Plovdiv has got, I think, 3 or 4 universities there. You've got an amazing talent pool to work with. Okay. And we acquired a company that was there, and then went over and just saw the opportunity to really ramp up our engineering team, our product team that are there. We also have a huge support team over there too. So I was really lucky. My part of my role then was that I spent about 6 months in Bulgaria taking this. It was 12 people that we acquired, and that, as they now, is 300. So it's been lovely to see that team completely take ownership of so much that the UK were doing before. But they just work globally and be able to support more time zones and things. It's fantastic.
Amazing. Love it. Yeah. Love it. Good to hear.
As well, like when you go to when you have the opportunity to go to work in the Bulgarian office, it's such a welcoming team, and they always make the effort. They've taken me on some incredible experiences. So going down to Mount Olympus, we did one weekend. There's Mount Vikran. There's really, really good ski resorts in Bulgaria as well. And the beach is just a really beautiful place. So
yeah, I can feel Indigo Swan office coming in Bulgaria.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
You're selling it to me. Let's see. So I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
This absolute little beauty. So for those of you that can't see that on the screen, first and foremost, it's not a fairy tale, as it says at the top of the book. It's got a little unicorn, an adventure through the disengagement danger zone, written by yourself, Kat. So firstly, where did the idea for the book come from? And secondly, why a unicorn?
Okay, the idea for the book it was about 5 years ago now, and we wanted to launch our communications product. We wanted to make Sevi, who was our head of product at that time, she was like, we really need a way to help everyone understand the importance of communications. We need to approach this differently than just doing our usual, like, here's our handout. And we had a big conference coming up. So she said, Kat, you should write a fairy tale on it. You should write a story. It'd be really great. Now we have the Build It book, which is something that's there and goes through all the sort of like textbook kind of way of doing it, much more of a business book.
I have read that. It's also very good.
Yeah. Wanted to make something which was a little bit more unusual to get into people's heads and engage them with it. So we did a draft run. I wrote the book. It was called The Little Unicorn, as I had started to get called that at work. And people just named me, you're the unicorn now. Yeah. And I guess it's because I'm quite colourful in my communications and known for glittering people at parties and things like that. And yeah, there we go. That's another tale. But so we went with the unicorn, and then it was changing what I do at work into a kind of like fable style story. She was like, if you can get in the head of a CFO and make them understand, because normally I'd be cost cutting, understand why this is so important. And yeah, did the test, wrote the book. Kind of, does it work for all ages? Was getting everyone's head. Tested it on my niece, who was like 6 at the time, and even she got it. So I was like, right, we're ready to go.
Ready to
and
roll.
then they were like flew off the shelves at that first conference. And then Glenn Elliott saw it, and he was like, I really want to publish your book. This is really great. It's different. It's nice. It's 25 minutes to get through it, and it just sticks in your head. So we went through and had the watercolors done. That was been done by one of our employees in Bulgaria, which is really nice to involve more people.
So Peter, he's an employee as well.
Yeah, he's in the retail team, and he is his hobby, his passion is painting. So get to expand people who'd be involved in it. Did the book, and then I just cut the book down. So it was a 5-minute version of it.
Yep.
So I started going into companies and then holding workshops, which would have used the fairy tale as a way of making the whole topic around engagement just more accessible for people to talk around. Because rather than me then saying like, James, what do you think on this? We could use the characters in there to talk around, why do you think the cynical squirrel feels that way in their role? And when you're talking about characters like that, then people would open up more, because it's not pointing at a particular person or a team, it's talking around it in the context of an imagination, where people would go, oh yeah, I know what they've bought. I've come across a board tree in my lifetime before, and they would just use it easier to open up and be confident in talking about.
I find that fascinating. I find it interesting. Don't get me wrong, Indigo Swan, we're fine. We could use something like this. That would be fine. Let's be fair. We refer to ourselves as swans. So
yeah.
In all honesty, I could take your book and absolutely use it, and everyone would get it. But saying that, maybe more old-fashioned businesses, more old-fashioned companies who maybe are sort of used to doing things in an old way, before then sitting down with their team and starting to talk about squirrels and trees, etc.
Yeah,
I find it. Well, I don't know. I find it amazing to think that they would adapt and embrace something like that. But
yeah,
why do you think that might be the case, as opposed to maybe talking about certain individuals? Because that's quite a change from their mindset historically.
Yeah, I think because it taps into like the nostalgia at the first. Like that, are you sitting comfortably? Let's tell a story. And then you kind of like, people let their guard down a little bit, and you're asking them, what would your ideal kingdom of culture be? What would your disengagement danger zone be? And they'll then feel like there's a connection there. Because actually one of the best events I did was for a global company who had their all regions come together. So there was someone from Thailand, somebody from Mexico, somebody from Africa, Europe, America, and then all the teams came together. And then when I read the story, everyone was laughing at the same bit. So the characters are global, like everyone knows them. They're kind of like office archetypes, and there's just that connection there, which is making people smile rather than having to name anyone or feel like I'm not stepping out of line because I'm talking about a fantasy here. I'm not talking about real life. So everything is just it's all to play for, rather than,
I love it.
Oh, I might say something here and upset them. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's brilliant, and I would recommend everyone go out and try and find a little copy and have a little read through it. I'm sure it's available where.
Yeah, my little lockdown project was putting on Audible, so that was really fun because I had to change my flat into a little recording studio.
Nice.
And how many people were doing home improvements during lockdown? So there was like, the microphone's so sensitive, I was picking up drilling from like down the street, or even aeroplanes that were flying over. I was like, how is it picking up the plane? But that was a nice little project to do as well.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. And it's great to see it's been well received, and we'll stick a link to where people can purchase.
Yeah, thanks.
When we share this video. But yeah, well done with that. I love it. Like I say, I recommend it to anybody. So you talk about that, and we talk about people struggling still to sort of work with their communications and their branding and all this sort of stuff.
Mhm.
What's your advice to people who are still sort of struggling in those areas at the present moment in time?
I've learned over the past 2 years, I've gained a lot of value with going outside of my usual circles for inspiration. I've been connecting more with creatives, so artists, people that just think different to how I do, or even how my team does. So when I was working on our business strategy, and it was presented to me by my CEO on an A4 piece of paper, and he was like, here we go, let's get that out. And that's how he'd always done things. It's like, I think it's going to cut it. So I approached an illustrator, her name's Lucy Connolly, to help me draw a strategy map and just make it look like something for real visual learners, something that was quite unique and would attract people to go, oh, I haven't seen anything like this before. And like your Swan stickers, turn those into little laptop stickers that we had, and create the branding around it. So everything's marketing now, everything's branding, everything's trying to get buy-in. So can you work with people that do things differently so that you really stand out when you launch something, rather than it's like, here's another run-of-the-mill business strategy that we're going to go live with. Working, I mean, last year I had some really great results as well doing our events, but I approached somebody who actually didn't have any work because music festivals got cancelled. I was like, come and help me, I need to do a recognition event. You know how to do amazing events for the normally public world, come into my world and help and bring all that skill into Reward Gateway. And we did a really great virtual recognition festival, which kind of merged music festival world with recognition world, and then created something really quite special. And again, employees hadn't seen it before. So take inspiration from everywhere, just look in places that you might not usually think, which is a bit difficult.
I love that. It's brilliant and great advice, because you can sometimes just get stuck in a rut, can't you?
Yeah.
The same people trying to get inspiration from the same place internally in your organisation. Sometimes it's the same in your organisation. You ask people in your organisation you don't normally ask, as an example. But then also actually thinking outside the box and asking other people outside your organisation who may bring something.
And industries that was so damaged from COVID last year, like work completely wiped out. I think there's a lot that businesses can do to kind of embrace them and say, it's okay, we've got you. You can come and work on this, which is different, but it will make some really, really amazing things happen.
On that note, on getting inspiration from different places and things like that, obviously quite a few people who watch Swan TV and my colleagues, I think we'd like to talk about motivational speakers and podcasts and all this sort of stuff and talks. Is there any motivational speakers podcasts that you listen to that inspire you?
So I listen to the High Performance podcast. It's really awesome. They have amazing guests on there. The one I listened to this week had the CEO of Timpson's, and I took a lot away from that. I just thought his whole ethos towards work was incredible. So that's some of my push higher ones. I also listen regularly to the Blind Boy podcast, which touches on, he's an Irish guy, touches on Irish culture, but he does a lot around mental health as well. And it's especially from last year, kind of helped me understand my own mind better and that of others. And that has really supported me a lot, actually. And then we have a benefit at work, which is wellbeing coaches with Sanctus. So when I do want a kind of push on myself or a bit of motivation, I will book myself in for a Sanctus coaching session, which
what do they contain? What does that involve?
Sanctus coaching sessions, so they're about 45-minute sessions I can dip into. It's provided by Reward Gateway as a benefit, and then I have a wellbeing coach. I often go and see a chap called Tom, and I can talk through him about anything that's coming up in my future, or perhaps something that's I'm going through at the moment, and he will help me equip my mindset with the tools that I need to manage it more effectively and feel mentally prepared, rather than overwhelmed by things that are happening. So he went through things like EFT with me, which is yeah, you know that one, the tapping, and different breathing exercises, or CBT, a little like those kind of things that happen. And it's such a nice grounding session to just go in, have a chat with Tom, and then be like, right, here I am.
Is this internally to what Gateway fund it and you go somewhere else, or does Tom?
Yeah, it's the benefit at work. So I can have it, we do it virtually through Zoom. And it's just, we have 2 Sanctus days every month, so you can book yourself in. Thanks to a great company. Like, the way that they see it is physical and mental health are one in the same. So everybody goes to the gym to work on their physical strength. They want to make it so that the same as you'd go to a physical gym, you'd go to a mental health gym and work on your mindset, build your resilience, build your mental strength. And it's like getting into the habit of perhaps doing that once a month or once every other month, to just go through and talk through things, ground myself, learn some new skills, has been really great. Yeah.
Nice. And is it something that's sort of well subscribed to, shall I say, within what Gateway do? Quite a lot of people take them up on that.
Yeah, they really do. It's hugely popular, especially with our sales team. They absolutely love it. I know their management there really champion it and talk about it quite often, but it's just changed our conversations around mental health at work. And it's really nice seeing how people are setting that time aside to really work on themselves.
Love it. Well, it sounds awesome, Catrin. Look, that's it. Look, everyone's just going to want to go work at Gateway now, aren't they?
You know what, Sanctus, actually, I went to their book launch last week. So James Rutledge, who is one of their founders, as George and James founded the company, and he released a book with Penguin. It's called Mental Health at Work. And nice, easy read, but that will be something I'm sure you'd enjoy, James.
I will, absolutely. We'll stick a link to that on this as well.
Yeah.
So under your book, though, obviously. Put that bigger text. But one of the other things we asked you to do, Kat, today was bring an item with you that has been important to you over the last 18 months, in and outside of lockdown. Obviously, we all had to adapt and change our lives back in last March. So what is the item you have brought with you, and why does it play such a significant
It's really heavy.
Oh,
a kettlebell.
Cool, look at that.
Got 2 of these. That's my lighter one. Kettlebell classes. So got into lockdown, what was I going to do with my time, signed up with I already had gone there, actually, so their gym is near my work, but they went virtual with it, doing strength classes, so working on physical strength. And my goodness, I can really see, I can feel it. Even my boss knows. It's like, you need to make sure that you do your strength class this week, because my focus, just like mental clarity, energy levels, are all the better for this little friend that I have here. Awesome. And practice makes perfect. Yeah, I've got into the routine now every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday lunchtimes and Thursdays after work. I really like it. It's been great.
And with that, is that something that, with the classes that you started, is the benefit it's had to you, is that something that you knew it would have, or is that something that you have discovered after starting it?
First of all, it was something I thought, well, there's nothing else to do, so I'll do this. And I did start to feel it, but then I didn't expect it to be so impactful. I didn't expect it to impact actually my time at work so much. So I thought it would just be physical strength and things like this. I didn't realize how much it would boost my performance at work in concentration, focus, all of those areas. It's been really, really
amazing. And so now it's something that you would just have to religiously continue now.
I know.
Which is awesome.
I did have a time on it where I had to take a break for like 6 weeks, and oh my goodness, I could feel it completely. I was like, I need it back. I need it back. My life. I hate it. So yeah, once it's a bit like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is, that isn't any habit. I don't know what they say, 25 days or whatever it is. As far as, if you do something for that amount of time, then you will normally stick to it. And I think a lot of people say, well, yeah, that's great if you see the benefits, but clearly in your case, doing it, you have seen the benefits both physically and mentally.
Yeah, I love it. And I just know you'll never regret a session like that. So, or even Like you might feel at the start like, oh, I'm just really not up for this today. But then by the end of it, it's like, yes, I did it. You never feel like, God, I wish I hadn't done that strength session.
You always happen.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
Good. Well, Kat, it's been lovely to speak to you today. Love what War Gateway are doing. I encourage anybody to check you guys out. Like I say, love the book. So again, check that out as well.
I have to get some swans in the fairy tale too.
Some swans, absolutely. Yeah, let's get some swans in there. But also, thank you, and you created the swanicorn for us, which I will take. I've got a picture of it in the office, so I will pop that on the link when we when we send this out. The swanicorn is still doing the rounds, which is great. But like I say, really great stuff that you're doing. Lovely to speak to you, and good luck with everything over the rest of this year.
Great, thanks, James.
No worries.